Hi guys.
Hi,
Hi.
Tyla.
How's everybody doing?
We are great.
Doing?
How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. Can y'all hear me? Is everything good in terms of
Yes.
tech? Because y'all know I was struggling earlier, so I'm glad we got a chance to hop on.
Right.
No, you're fine. Listen, before we get into things, let me give you your introduction. Okay.
Okay.
You ready?
Okay.
Well,
I'm
I like
ready.
how the
Go for it.
blondes are down here having a good time. Yes, blondes.
Listen.
No,
Do
that's
your
what I
curls
keep.
curl? Do
Mm-hmm.
your locks lock? Well, our first guest has all the tips for the natural hair care girlies. From forcing hair types to heat protecting. She's living the lifestyle by showing you through her content. Ladies and gentlemen, and non-binary alike, welcome to the Pink Clubhouse, hair and lifestyle guru.
Oh, honey, thank you. I wouldn't say guru, but this ain't my first time.
Oh,
I think we ran into the technical.
into thin air. Oh no.
No, it's okay. I mean, listen, we knew this was a possibility.
Hey everybody down in the chat. I'm sorry I didn't say hi because my thing was like my screen was moving up and down. But
Let's see what happens.
big of news. Yay!
I don't know what happened.
No, it's
What happened, but we back.
You forewarned us. It's okay.
I told y'all. But I'm here, so let's go ahead and knock this out because I don't know what's going on in the
Let me
service
speed
area.
read. All right, Tyler, welcome to the show.
Hi.
No. Welcome to the show. Could you tell us about yourself a little bit more for those who don't know you?
So my name's Tyler. In terms of what I do in natural hair, I started in 2011 at Fort Valley State University, which is my HBCU. Okay, shout out to Fort Valley. Started as a short haircut, very much buzz cut girl. Was trying to figure out what my next move would be in terms of my hair journey. Ended up just growing it out, not really understanding that I was transitioning into the natural hair journey. And then I just kind of embraced it. I was like, you know what? And like all of these ugly phases that I couldn't really pinpoint and like understand how to style or how to make it pretty, how to make it fashionable. 2016, I graduated from Fort Valley State and I actually cut my hair off. At that point, I had a little mini fro. But I made my presence known as a natural hair person or enthusiast in college. Cut it off. I was like, I want a new start.
Right.
And not realizing that I would reinvent myself in this natural hair space. And I started to write down how I felt about natural hair. I didn't understand things. YouTube was just kind of popping off in terms of natural hair. And I was like, man, I wish people would stop cutting out all the good stuff. Like, it does not take you 30 seconds to do a freaking twist out. It does not take you 45 seconds to do a braid out. Like, nobody's getting all the raw edits and raw cuts of being natural. So I wrote it in my sketchbook and I was like, well, maybe I can make this like a YouTube channel, just kind of raw, unedited footage of me doing my hair, but also with the commentary and the speech of like, it's okay if you don't understand. It's okay if you don't get the style the first time. It's okay if it doesn't come out exactly like the YouTube influencer with 100,000 followers. Like, that's not the point. But maybe y'all need to see that. So started on YouTube, transitioned because YouTube was too long for me, honestly. And the editing was kind of driving me crazy. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make it a brand. This is going to be me. And ItsFroStrated is a brand now. It's been a brand since 2019. And all I do is talk about the things that you don't normally see in natural hair, which I think honestly has made a great improvement in terms of being transparent. And real about natural hair. Like, you're not going to like it all the time. You're not going to, want to do your hair all of the time, but you want to be cute.
Right.
And you also have to show up in certain spaces outside of your house as yourself. And you don't need to be you don't want to fight or battle that. So ItsFroStrated came from that. And now it's a brand. So I am the brand, but I'm venturing out into lifestyle stuff because I know that hair and fashion go well. Hair and creative direction go well. And that's where we're kind of switching it, transitioning to. So yeah, that's pretty much me.
All right. Well, you kind of touched on it already a little bit, but you are a hair and lifestyle content creator. What inspired you to talk about your hair care and the journey of being natural?
So I think what honestly inspired me was, again, the HBCU culture. Like, Fort Valley was considered like a family and home to me. So a lot of the times, if I didn't find a hairstylist that was in the Fort Valley area, I could go to Homegirl in Building 4 who doing braids for $50. And, you know, it became a thing where I was like, I appreciate what that particular setting or environment was for me. And I wanted to be a part of that. Like, I wanted to reach back and help people, but I didn't have a lot to present or educate, you know. So it was a lot of that HBCU culture. It was also understanding that at that time, it was either money to go to Wendy's or money to go to the hair store to do my hair. And I was like, I gotta figure out how to balance this a little bit. So I started to do it myself. Did I know what I was doing? Absolutely not. But I felt like if I put the time in, eventually I'll get it. And then I actually started making that like a challenge for myself every month. Like, okay, we're going to try Marley twist this week. Next week, we're going to try, you know, perm rods just to see how much I can do.
Right.
And that curiosity kind of inspired me to keep going. Because, you know, I would wake up, be like, okay, wait, I feel hold on, it's a little hair back here on my neck. That means we're getting a little growth. Okay, let me write down this product because that product is doing really well. I got to throw this away because that didn't really work, and so forth and so on.
So now, I mean, you did graduate from Fort Valley State University, right? From there, you worked in the automotive industry for 4 years, car dealership. Can you how you got into that industry and some of the challenges you working in such a male-dominated industry?
Okay, so I graduated with no plan. I mean, I'm just gonna shoot it straight. I graduated with not a idea in the world of what I wanted to do because I like to do a lot of things. I wasn't one person that just stuck to one thing, and I was to the point where I wanted to make money immediately. Like, I didn't feel comfortable sitting at home and not making money or not applying myself. So the only job at that time was automotive sales. And I'm like, I certainly am not the one to be in this industry. This is not me, but they pay weekly. So we'll figure it out. My plan was I'm going to be there for like a year, kind of, you know, save, get my money up. And then I'm out of there. Well, 5.5 years later, I ended up being at Honda for 5 years. And honestly, I will say now, and I've said this in the past, that I didn't like the job at all. Because, of course, being a Black woman in any industry can already be a lot. But working in car sales where your typical customer is expecting a certain person to greet them and to help them throughout the entire process. When they see me, it's like, oh, well, you're the receptionist, or, oh, you're the X, Y, and Z. And again, I like challenges. This was considered a challenge for me. So I'm like, okay, now I have to convince you that not only am I worth your time and your business, but I'm also a lot better than you think, and I'm also a lot more than you think, and I'm also a lot more educated than you probably assume. So let's show you. And not only that, but it taught me so many professional skills that I don't think I would have otherwise learned anywhere else. How to be presentable in a really rough situation where you have to tell people things that kind of tap into their personal history that without being rude or being shady. How to handle certain situations that are not under your control, but you're in the middle of it. You know, a husband and a wife talking about their marital issues while they're trying to choose a vehicle. And you're sitting there like,
I know.
Okay.
Very well.
Okay. Or, you know, you have a lot of racial tension where, in my case, I was in a rural area that's fairly vanilla. So I had to, you know, I had to take certain things and kind of either swallow it or be professional enough to say, okay, hey, listen, I don't know what you're used to, but where I'm from and how I do things in terms of business, we're not going to speak that way. You're not going to talk to me that way.
Right.
And let's address this in a professional way so you get what you want. and I am comfortable enough to give you what you want and things of that nature. So it definitely, although it was not pleasant in the moment, I definitely appreciate the time because it really prepared me for where I am now in terms of building that professional character for sure.
Right. Do you feel like it gives you like a armor you never thought you needed?
Yeah. Because believe it or not, the reason why I joined the industry is because I wanted to join something that I felt like was evergreen, like it's never going to change. You're always going to need a car. You're always going to need transportation. So I always had that in the back of my mind, like no matter where I go from here, I can always refer or have a reference with this particular experience. Everybody's driven a car. Everybody's had some sort, and Honda is a notable brand. So it's one of those things where if I start, now in the creative industry, if I don't have anything to talk about, I can always go to, have you ever owned a Honda, or what are you driving right now? Just so I can understand who that person is, because a big part of working in the car industry is noticing that your cars could be, I'm not going to say can, but could be a representation of you. Certain people, if you're reliable, if you're honest, if you're, X, Y, and Z, you may drive a Honda. But if you are, on the upper echelon, or maybe you only want a certain standard, you'll drive this particular car. And I'm like, oh, so you drive a Lexus. Got it. Okay, well, what made you choose Lexus over X, Y, and Z? And you can find out so many things about that particular person, about what they're driving. So I kind of carried that with me. Of course, I dispelled a lot of things because they're just simply assumptions. But yeah, a whole different version of armor for sure.
Tyla, when you were going into the automotive industry, did you expect that there would be some challenges, like with you being a Black woman and it being a male-dominated industry? Like, did you know initially?
Well, yeah. I knew very well that walking into that particular industry, you had people that didn't have degrees that were doing very well, that were considered senior. You had people that had no experience at all, that were management, who felt like, oh, well, I'm management. I can tell you anything and I need you to do it. And I, would stand up for myself or have a second opinion. And it would be like, are you challenging what I say? And I'm like, absolutely. What made you think I wouldn't? And that would create a little bit of tension, but it also leveled a lot of people. And I knew that coming in because and this is something that guy had to knock down, because I walked in like, look, I'm not going to be here long, so whatever. And 4 years later, a lot of those people that I was like, look, do whatever you do. I'll stay over here. You stay over there. I ended up having to ask for help, or we end up cooperating. Or coming together. So I walked in with a whole lot of weight on me that I didn't even sign up for, but I ended up using it. I used it to my advantage. A lot of times, there were times I had to leave. I had to just leave the space and be like, okay, we're not quitting on that note. We're going to quit when we're ready to quit. We're going to quit when we have something set up, but not because they said something or did something that pissed you off that day. That's going to happen all the time. You just need to make sure you stand your ground when it's necessary, and then let all that other stuff roll off, because, they're not putting their hands on you. They're not crazy enough to do that. So just keep it cool and keep it chill.
I will say, for me, working around the vanilla people, it definitely teaches you how to maneuver and play the game, and even do it better than they're doing it. Like, it gives you a drive. Like, oh, okay.
I think it's a matter of listening to certain things and just hearing what keeps repeating, and also being able to leverage. Like I was one of those people where I was like, look, I'm going to work with different type of people no matter where I am, even in the creative industry. So this is a perfect foundation of, okay, I understand, we may have to tell you 2 or 3 times to do something. It might take me 1 time. But if you get frustrated, that's not necessarily on me. You just have to open up your mind and be open to receiving different ways of thinking. If you're not up to that, that's not necessarily my fault. It's just something that you're going to have to go home and really think to yourself about. But for the moment, let's just get this together because we have money on the table at the end of the day. and the money on the table is what's most important. How you feel about me and all of that. That could be settled once the money is off the table.
Because that changes everything. But look, a lot of times when it comes to content, people think it has to be some groundbreaking material. But there was a made of you just simply putting your hair in a ponytail that reached 20,000 plus views. And that was when you realized that everything is content. Why do you think something as simple as putting your hair in a ponytail was so interesting for people to watch? And how has the simplicity of that reel views changed the way you think about doing content as a creative?
I think it's full circle for sure, because in 2019, when I said I wanted to start ItsFroStrated as a YouTube channel, that was the intention, to do simple stuff that a lot of people would be like, I just want to put my hair in a ponytail. And feel like they have to go through millions and millions and millions of TikToks and YouTube videos to find it. And here I am. I have what I consider B-roll footage, stuff that I want to post and maybe put like a little song behind it or whatever. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to try this ponytail video. At that time, I was in like a little plateau of, okay, my content is doing okay, but I know it can do better. Let me just start all the way from the bottom. Let me just start at ground zero with first grade content and then build on it. I put my hair in a ponytail and I'm like, why is my phone pinging like this? What is going on? And the concept of how fast it went, first of all, and me sitting, I think I was at work, and I was like, what am I doing? And that's what it helped me to kind of recenter, because sometimes as a content creator, you'll get so invested that all of the basic content that people are looking for, or the simple content, you overlook because you're trying to make it so complex and you're trying to make it so niche and so to you and what you like to do, that people are just looking for the simple stuff. And you have to think about your audience. And that's something that I'm doing now with my strategy for Q4. Think about your audience and think about where they are in their natural hair lifestyle. Some of them are trying to get their basics. They're trying to understand who they are at the very minimum and then build on that. That ponytail video is a perfect example of that. Like, start small.
There's like an audience for everybody.
Yeah, like anybody can do that. Anybody is for any and everybody. But I'm like, girl, look at your top videos. Why are they all simple? Why are they all like less than 15 seconds, getting to the point? You need to build off of what you're doing the best at. And sometimes, even myself, I'm like, no, I have so many ideas that can top that. And it's like, but wait, just start slow. Start basic.
Well, Tyler, as a Black woman with natural hair, have you ever felt the need to conform to the European societal pressures that are placed upon us to have straight hair and a more whitewashed look?
Absolutely. Another reason why ItsFroStrated was even birthed, because I was like, look, at that time, natural hair was kind of on the rise in terms of embracing your natural hair no matter where you are, whether you're at work, whether you're at home, you with your friends, you with your coworkers, whoever. And there was a time even in college where I was like, all right, maybe sewing me would be a little bit better. I would kind of appeal to my audience. Or, you know, maybe I would get further with my hair or get in the door with my sewing, and then the next day I'll come with my puff. And once I got older and I had a little self-talk, because I'm big on like, all right, girl, if you don't believe it, nobody else will. So it was one of those things where I was like, look, this whole double play just because a certain image of you is doing better versus how you actually look, we're not doing it. We can do that, because now I'm adding a personality with this sew-in. Now I'm adding this whole persona with the sew-in versus how I am or my natural hair. And that's not, first of all, that's contradicting to your brand, and that's contradicting to the overall message that you tell yourself. So if you lose some friends, if you lose some followers, if you lose a couple, okay, cool. But I'm not about to go bald trying to please you. I'm not about to go bald trying to impress. I am not about to literally walk around sun up with the wig on and sundown I'm braided up. Like, it's just not about to happen.
Right, so let me ask you this, because there's, I don't know if you heard about the lawsuit, or the FDA is trying to ban black hair relaxers now.
Oh.
Just because of these things,
well,
the chemicals and all that. But also, what do you think about that? And
I'm a little torn, because I do understand. Well, actually, I don't. I would like to think that the chemicals and all of that would be a great reason to move forward with that. Mm-hmm. But I'm also like, you have to give people the choice to do that. It is not something that should be demanded of you to take that option off the table. I don't think it's fair. I think if we're going to be here in America, we need to have the choice to do A or B. You choose to color your hair, you choose to cut it or leave it long.
Correct.
You need to choose that. It shouldn't be up to people that probably don't even have hair to make that decision. Personally, though, I was a relaxer girl growing up, and I made the decision myself to say that I'm not going to do that anymore. So I think, although it's a very good point that the chemicals in perms are probably not good for your actual brain and your actual skin, I also think there's a lot of things that we eat, that we wear, that we do that are not the best for us, and yet we choose to make that decision. So
let me ask you, do you think you really choose? Because
I think
kind of
so.
If you think about the European standard, that's something pushed upon.
Right.
Even food, you know, like I downloaded an app called Yuka, and I'm like very on it. Like, I scan everything now, because there's so many foods that have chemicals that you're just like, I didn't even know. You know what I mean? I didn't know that these chemicals were in my food. Right. And then now that I know, I'm like, hell no.
Now that you know.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. Yeah. Now that you know, when you know better, you do better. That applies to everything, including hair. If you didn't know about relaxers back then because you were kind of, I don't want to say forced, but you were just raised with that sort of ideology or image of what hair is supposed to look like, then if you don't want to change that, then by all means, continue to do what you do, especially if you like the way you look. Right. No matter what information I tell you, if you like the way you look with perm hair, what I say won't change anything. However, when you know the difference between what your hair and your brain and your actual body, what that difference is going to be with and without a perm, regardless of European looks, regardless of history and fact, you will still choose to do what you want to do. A lot of people know that what we eat in fast food and all of that is not healthy for us. But sometimes things and factors that are out of our control, like the economy, your financial situation, whatever the case, you have no choice but to do what's convenient for you. So it's still a choice, regardless of what's on the table legally. It's still a choice. Whether they choose to or not, that's on them. But you can give people the water. It's up for them to drink. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, I feel you on that. I mean, I think a little bit different, but yeah.
Yeah. I definitely get what you're saying, though.
I think
when you know, you're supposed to adjust when you know.
Right.
But some people ain't gonna do that.
Well, listen, Tyler, it was a pleasure.
Yes.
You today. We got through the technical difficulties.
I know. Praise God. Thank you.
But
Jesus. I was worried.
I was worried to have you on today.
Yeah.
Let us know what you have coming up and how we can stay updated on ItsFroStrated.
So right now it's really content. Q4. I don't know if you are a content creator on here. You know about the last quarter. You get into holiday stuff. You get into fall, winter stuff. For me, it's going to be trying a lot of new things in terms of styles, collaborating with some brands that I have been collaborating with, and some are new. So I'll be introducing some things in terms of that, and then just keeping abreast with everything that I do. whether it be fashion, because I do a lot of Pinterest boards and kind of looks that you could do for like homecoming season. And yeah, just Q4, just wrapping up the year and making sure it's wrapped up in a bow and with a bang.
Are you doing like giveaways and stuff like that?
Yes, I have some stuff coming up. I'm not gonna say too much, but I do want to, because I have a lot of products that I get PR or I get a lot of stuff. So I want to give away that stuff.
Pay attention.
Preferably to those who are starting their journey. People who are starting their journey, or maybe they're transitioning, or maybe they just, want to try some things out. And I'm big on not buying the big bulk of products until you know that you like it. And I have a lot of little mini sample stuff. And I'm like, y'all, this is the perfect time to try stuff out before the seasons change. So that's coming soon.
Yeah. Well, let me get in that giveaway because I like products.
Right.
Okay, look, that's for everybody, okay? Hair products are not susceptible to anyone. It's for everybody. So if you guys want to follow me, that's probably going to be around, I would say like end of October, because I want to get through Halloween and get into like Thanksgiving and stuff, because that's what it's centered around. But it's orange, so,
Well,
go ahead. Go ahead, Jen. Go ahead.
Well, no, are you able to still stick around with us just for What Will We Do? Column?
Sure, yeah. If it'll allow, but so far so good, so let's roll.